Space is cold, dark, and largely indifferent. Just like most of the people I've met. I was drifting through the Kepler Rift, hauling a cargo of prefab hydro farms to a colony 2 jumps past regulated space, when something slammed into the starboard wing of my freighter like a meteor with a grudge. Alarms blared. Lights flashed. A blinking red message scrolled across my screen. Unidentified object breach. Deck 4. Swore. Loudly. See, Deck 4 isn't cargo or systems. It's where I sleep. I yanked my emergency suit over my shoulders, slapped on the helmet, and grabbed my old plasma wrench. More tool than weapon, but with enough voltage to cook a man's liver through his ribcage. I moved through the corridors fast and quiet, a lifetime of smuggler instincts on high alert. By the time I reached the breach chamber, I expected a hole blown through the hull, maybe a fire, maybe explosive decompression. What I found instead? A smoking escape pod wedged into my bulkhead, and a hole in the side of it. Cautiously peered in. Something small stirred inside. Very small. Then it leapt out. I stumbled back, nearly cracking my helmet against the wall. The thing stood barely 3 feet tall, covered in sleek moss-green fur that shimmered in the emergency lights. Big amber eyes blinked up at me from a vaguely feline face. Long ears twitched, and 4 fingers curled around a glowing crystal she held like a weapon. The creature's tail, long and bushy, snapped behind her. "Identify yourself," I barked, half hoping it was just a weird alien pet that wandered onto my ship. She blinked. Then, in a weirdly chirpy, high-pitched accent, she said, "You are not eating me, yes? I wasn't planning on it." She relaxed slightly. "Then I claim sanctuary by crash right. Your ship is now obligated to host me until I am, how you say, unproblematic again." "What?" She bowed deeply, hands spread. "I am Lura of the Renari. Crashed into your life. And now apparently I live here." Middle. Lura was a menace. A tiny, energetic, chaos tornado of a menace. First, she rewired my ship's grav dampeners because she said they itched her claws. I spent 6 hours walking on walls before I figured out how to fix it. Then she hacked my AI, and reprogrammed it to speak in what she called a more pleasing vocal tone. Now my navigation computer coos like a lullaby-singing grandmother. "Problematic," I said one evening, stirring what passed for soup in my galley. "You said I had to host you until you were unproblematic again. So when's that happening?" She looked up from the engine core, where she'd made a nest out of thermal blankets and a pile of my clean socks. "Once I finish my sacred quest." "Sacred quest?" Echoed. "Yes. I have to find the shard of Velthura. It's a relic from my people's ancient world, lost during the Reaping War. It contains encoded memories of our ancestors, our soul song, our heritage. Without it, my clan cannot return to our homeworld. And let me guess, you don't have a map." She pulled a crumpled piece of star map from her side pouch. It was barely legible. The route traced a winding, half-guessed series of coordinates across systems I didn't even know were real. I was following this. Then bounty hunters blew out my escape pod, and now I am here. With you. Course. I tried dropping her off. 3 times. First time, a mining colony refused her entry because she looked too soft to be real. Second time, a port authority tried to dissect her, thinking she was an advanced plush toy assassin. Third time, she hacked their defense grid to buy us 5 minutes of escape time. I stopped trying after that. Somewhere along the way, she started fixing my ship. Asked. Paid. But somehow better than I'd ever managed. She rebalanced the drive coils, tightened the shield harmonics, even added a stealth mode we didn't technically have parts for. Her tech instincts were terrifyingly good. I started calling her an engine troll, and she grinned like it was a title of honor. Then one day she pulled me into the cockpit. "There," she said, pointing at a nebula cloud shaped vaguely like a cracked egg. "Inside the Dernithai Maw. That's where the shard is." "You sure?" She nodded. "I feel it. The song pulls me." I didn't ask how. She was weird. The kind of weird that keeps space interesting. The Dernithai Maw was no picnic. We got caught in a gravity tide that nearly ripped my stabilizers apart. Then drifted through a pocket of dark matter that made every light on the ship flicker like a dying candle. I thought we were finished. But Lura hummed. Soft, wordless tune. And the sensors cleared. Lights normalized. The ship passed through. When I asked what she did, she just said, "It's old music. The kind that answers the dark." I didn't press. We reached a dead moon orbiting a dying star. Cracked like glass. Uninhabitable. Lura pointed to a buried temple half buried in crystallized ash. "I go alone," she said. "Not happening." She frowned. "This is Renari legacy. Not for big smelly humans." "Great. I'll wear deodorant. You almost got blown up in your last ride, remember? We go together." She didn't argue. Inside the temple, the air shimmered with static energy. Columns rose like broken tusks. Symbols pulsed along the walls in a rhythm that matched Lura's heartbeat. I could see it on her wrist scanner. We descended into a central chamber. At its heart, floating above a pedestal, was a crystal the size of a human heart. It thrummed with power and sorrow. Lura approached it slowly, reverently. But before she touched it, a shape moved. A guardian. Ancient, semi-mechanical, fused with the walls. It uncoiled with a shriek and sprang. I fired my plasma wrench. It bounced off its plating like a rubber ball. Lura leapt in front of me and sang. Just one note. Clear. Pure. The guardian froze. Then slowly bowed. It retracted into the wall, silent once more. I stared at her. "What the hell was that?" "The old tongue," she whispered. "The one that calls machines by name." She reached up, placed her paw on the crystal, and the room filled with light. Her eyes closed. Her fur glowed. And for a moment I saw dozens of other tiny Luras. Generations of Renari, singing, building, living, loving, flashing through the air like projected memories. When it faded, she looked older. Not in age. Still 3 feet of mischief, but in presence. "It's done," she said quietly. Ending. We flew in silence for a while. She tucked the shard safely into a containment vault she built herself, using pieces of my kitchen, no less. I glanced at her from the pilot's seat. "So, are you unproblematic now?" She looked down at her dangling legs, then back up at me. "Technically. Then I guess this is where we say goodbye." "Technically," she repeated, then hesitated. "But Renari custom dictates I must remain with the one who bore witness to my quest's fulfillment." "Seriously? That's your excuse now?" "It is law. Sacred. Very sacred. Cannot be broken." Smirk. "You just don't want to leave the ship, do you?" He grinned. "Your socks are very comfortable." I sighed long and loud. "Fine. But you're doing laundry." "Done. Also, I rerouted the shower so it plays music now." I didn't even ask. So that's my life now. Me, my half-fixed freighter, and a 3-foot-tall alien girl who crashes, sings to machines, rewires my ship daily, and somehow made herself my problem, for good. And weirdly, I don't mind anymore.